I found out on a Tuesday. Not dramatic. Not cinematic. Just a random Tuesday afternoon when I borrowed my son's laptop because mine was charging upstairs and I needed to check my work email. The browser was already open. Reddit. I almost closed it without looking. But I saw my name. Not like my name. My name. Daniel Kerrigan. Full name. In the username field at the top. My chest went cold. The post was titled "My father has been having an affair for 6 months and my mother still doesn't know." I stopped breathing. The words started swimming. I had to read it 3 times before they made sense. Before I understood that I was reading fiction. Horrible, detailed fiction about me. About Emily. About our marriage. Except none of it was true. None of it. My 15-year-old son Marcus had been writing posts pretending to be me. For 7 months. He had created an entire alternate universe where I was a cheating, lying piece of garbage who stayed late at work to meet up with a woman named Jessica from HR. We don't even have a Jessica in HR. I scrolled through his post history with shaking hands. There were dozens of them. Dozens. All in different support subreddits. r/surviving infidelity. r/relationship_advice. r/confession. r/off midgest. Each one more detailed than the last. I started the affair because my wife gained weight after our second child. I felt like I was going to throw up. Emily had struggled with postpartum depression after our daughter Lily was born 3 years ago. She'd opened up to me about feeling unattractive. I'd held her while she cried and told her she was beautiful. And Marcus had weaponized that. Turned it into a story where I was disgusted by her body. I tell my kids I'm working late but really I'm at Jessica's apartment. My son knows something's wrong but he's too scared to ask. I bought my mistress the same perfume I used to buy my wife. The comments were worse. Hundreds of them. Strangers calling me every name you could imagine. Telling me I was destroying my family. Sharing their own stories of being betrayed. Offering support to this fictional version of me who felt guilty but not guilty enough to stop. Some of them begged me not to tell Emily. Said she deserved better. Said my kids would never forgive me. Others were more brutal. Told me I was selfish. A coward. That I deserved to lose everything. And Marcus had responded to dozens of them. Thanking them. Asking for advice. Building relationships with these people. He had created an entire online identity as me. A cheating, lying version of me. I sat there for 20 minutes just scrolling. My hands were numb. My brain couldn't process it. Then I heard the front door. Marcus was home from school. I closed the laptop. I don't know why. Some instinct to protect him kicked in even though he was the one who'd done this. Even though every cell in my body was screaming. He walked into the kitchen and dropped his backpack, pulled out his phone without even looking at me. "Hey Dad." "Hey buddy." My voice sounded normal. I don't know how. He grabbed a soda from the fridge and headed toward his room. Stopped at the doorway. "Can I have my laptop back?" I looked at him. Really looked at him. 15 years old. Tall for his age. Wore his hair too long because Emily and I had given up that battle. He liked graphic novels and video games and had 3 close friends he'd known since elementary school. He was a good kid. I thought he was a good kid. "Sure," I said. "It's in the living room." He nodded and disappeared. I sat in the kitchen for another 10 minutes. Then I went upstairs to my office and locked the door. I logged into Reddit on my phone. Created a burner account. Found Marcus's profile again. The most recent post was from 2 days ago. I almost told my wife last night. We were lying in bed and she told me she loved me and I almost said it. Almost confessed everything. But then I thought about losing my kids and I kept my mouth shut. I'm a coward. 473 upvotes. 212 comments. I read every single one. People were invested in this story. In my story. The fake story Marcus had built. They remembered details from previous posts. They asked follow-up questions. They treated him like a real person going through a real crisis. One woman had written 6 paragraphs about how her ex-husband had done the same thing. How it destroyed her ability to trust anyone. How her kids were in therapy. Marcus had responded, "I'm so sorry you went through that. I know I'm being selfish. I just don't know how to stop." I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Instead I kept reading. And that's when I found the other subreddit. r/raised by narcissists. Marcus had a second account. Different username. But same writing style. Same details about our family. This one was from his perspective. The real Marcus. The teenager suffering under his narcissistic father who manipulated everyone and played the perfect dad in public but was cold and controlling at home. My dad tracks my location constantly. We had Life 360 because Marcus asked for it after a friend got lost during a hiking trip. He criticizes everything I do. I had asked him to take out the trash without being reminded. 3 days in a row. He compares me to other kids constantly. I had mentioned once that his friend Tyler got a summer job. Once. Post after post of small, normal parenting moments twisted into evidence of emotional abuse. And the comments. God, the comments. That's not normal. You deserve better. He sounds like a textbook narcissist. You need to document everything. You might need evidence when you turn 18. Have you considered talking to a school counselor? My son had created an entire support network of strangers who believed I was a monster. 2 versions of me. The cheater and the narcissist. Both destroying my family in different ways. Both completely fictional. I sat there until Emily called me down for dinner. It is a family. Me, Emily, Marcus, and Lily. Spaghetti. Lily talked about her kindergarten teacher. Emily mentioned her sister was coming to visit next month. Marcus scrolled on his phone until Emily told him to put it away. Normal. Completely normal. Except I kept looking at Marcus and seeing those posts. Those hundreds of lies. After dinner, Emily asked if I was okay. Just tired, I said. She kissed my cheek. Told me to go relax. She'd handle bedtime. I went back to my office and read more posts. For 5 hours I read. Every single thing Marcus had written. Both accounts. 7 months of fiction presented as reality. And slowly, underneath the anger, something else started growing. Dread. Because I realized these posts weren't random. They had a pattern. A timeline. They started 7 months ago, right after our big fight. The fight where I'd caught Marcus lying about his grades. Where I'd taken away his gaming computer for 2 weeks. Where he'd screamed that I was ruining his life and I'd screamed back that he needed to grow up and take responsibility. We'd both apologize later. I thought we'd moved past it. But Marcus hadn't moved past it. He'd weaponized it. And now hundreds of strangers on the internet thought they knew me. Thought they knew my marriage. My family. My secret sins. None of them knew the truth. My son had built a prison out of lies and locked me inside it without me even knowing. The worst part? I couldn't tell anyone. Not Emily. Not my friends. Not a therapist. Because how do you explain that your teenager has been cosplaying as you online? Confessing to affairs you never had? Building a case for abuse that doesn't exist? Who would believe me? I shut down my computer at 2 a.m. Marcus's laptop was still in the living room where he'd left it. I walked past it 3 times before finally picking it up. I should have confronted him. Should have woken him up right then and demanded answers. But I didn't. I just stood there holding the laptop, and I knew with absolute certainty that nothing would ever be the same. I thought I knew my son. Turns out, hundreds of strangers online know a version of me better than I know him. I didn't sleep. I lay next to Emily in the dark and listened to her breathe and wondered if I was losing my mind. By morning I'd convinced myself I'd overreacted. Maybe it was just teenage rebellion. Creative writing gone wrong. A phase. Then I checked Reddit again. Marcus had posted at 6:47 a.m. Before school. Update. I think my wife is starting to suspect. She asked me last night why I've been distant. I told her work stress. She didn't believe me. I can see it in her eyes. The way she looks at me now. Like she's trying to solve a puzzle. I'm terrified. Posted 3 hours ago. 68 comments already. I read it sitting on the toilet. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone in the sink. Emily knocked on the door. You okay in there? Fine, I choked out. Just a minute. I splashed water on my face. Looked at myself in the mirror. I looked normal. Tired, but normal. Not like someone whose entire life was being dismantled by a 15-year-old with Wi-Fi access. Breakfast was quiet. Marcus ate cereal with his earbuds in. Lily colored. Emily packed lunches. Don't forget Marcus has his orthodontist appointment Friday, Emily said. I nodded. Couldn't speak. Didn't trust my voice. Marcus looked up at me once. Just once. Made eye contact for maybe 2 seconds. Then went back to his phone. Did he know I knew? Was that possible? No. His laptop history showed he always cleared his browser. Always logged out. He thought he was being careful. He had no idea I'd stumbled into his nightmare factory. I drove to work on autopilot. Sat in my cubicle and stared at my computer screen without seeing it. My co-worker Janet asked if I was feeling okay. Didn't sleep well, I said. She made a joke about getting old. I laughed. It sounded hollow. I couldn't focus on anything. Every email felt impossible. Every meeting was torture. At lunch, I locked myself in my car and did what I'd been dreading. I started searching for my name. Maybe Marcus had kept it contained to Reddit. Maybe it was just those few subreddits. I was wrong. He'd branched out. There were posts on Facebook support groups. I had to create a fake profile just to see them. Different groups for betrayed spouses, for people dealing with infidelity, for adult children of narcissists, all using variations of my real name. Daniel K. Dan Kerrigan. Kerrigan Nagkin 78. That's my birth year. My actual birth year. He'd included details that made it searchable. Our city. My job title. The name of Emily's workplace. Anyone who wanted to could piece together who I was. And then I found the blog. Confessions of a Married Man. My double life. The header image was a stock photo of a man's silhouette. The About page said it was a space for honest discussion about infidelity and its impacts. The first post was dated 6 months ago. I never meant for it to happen. That's what everyone says, right? But it's true. Jessica was just a colleague, then a friend, then something more. And now I'm lying to the person I promised to spend my life with. This blog is my penance. My confession. Maybe if I write it all down, I'll find the courage to tell the truth. 23 posts. Thousands of words. A complete fictional arc of an affair that never happened. He'd included conversations between me and Jessica. Detailed descriptions of guilt. References to my kids that made me want to scream. One post was titled "The Day My Son Almost Caught Me." I couldn't read past the first paragraph. The blog had followers. People who commented regularly. Who waited for updates. Who'd gotten invested in this story. One commenter named Sarah had written on every single post. She talked about her own marriage. Her own struggles with trust. She thanked me for being honest. Marcus had responded to her personally. Had a whole dialogue going. They'd formed a connection. She thought she was talking to a middle-aged man in crisis. She was talking to my 10th grader. I sat in my car until my phone alarm reminded me I had a 2 p.m. meeting. I went back inside. Sat through an hour of project updates without hearing a single word. After work, I didn't go straight home. I drove around for 30 minutes trying to figure out what to do. Confront Marcus? He'd deny it. Delete everything. I'd never get answers. Tell Emily? She'd demand we confront him together. It would explode. He'd hate us both. Go to a therapist? And say what? My son is catfishing hundreds of people by pretending to be me having an affair? I pulled into our driveway at 6:15. Emily's car was already there. Inside, Lily was watching cartoons. Emily was cooking. Marcus was in his room with the door closed. How's work? Emily asked. Fine. Busy. She smiled at me. That smile I'd loved for 17 years. Open. Trusting. Completely unaware that somewhere online, strangers were reading about how I'd betrayed her. I helped her set the table. We called the kids down. Had dinner. Marcus barely spoke. Just pushed food around his plate and answered in monosyllables when Emily asked about school. You okay, honey? She asked him. Fine. Tired. Maybe lay off the late-night gaming, I said. Couldn't help myself. He looked at me. Really looked at me. Something flickered across his face. Defiance? Guilt? I couldn't tell. I'm not gaming, he said. I'm doing homework. Until 2 a.m.? How do you know what time I go to bed? Emily interrupted. Guys, not at dinner. The rest of the meal was silent except for Lily chattering about a butterfly she'd seen at recess. After dinner, Marcus vanished back to his room. I helped Emily clean up. He's been weird lately, she said quietly. Have you noticed? My heart stopped. Weird how? Just distant. Moody. More than usual teenage stuff. She dried a plate. Maybe we should talk to him. See if something's going on at school. Maybe, I managed. She touched my arm. Are you sure you're okay? You've been off all week. Just work stress. That lie came so easily. Too easily. She kissed my cheek and went to help Lily with her bath. I stood in the kitchen alone and realized I was doing exactly what Marcus had written. Being distant. Acting strange. Making Emily worry. He was predicting my behavior. Or creating it. I couldn't tell anymore. I waited until everyone was asleep. Then I took my phone and locked myself in the garage. I went back to the blog. Read every post I'd missed. And that's when I found the worst one. Posted yesterday. Title. I think I'm going to tell her. I can't do this anymore. The lies are eating me alive. Emily deserves the truth. My kids deserve a father who isn't living a double life. Tomorrow I'm going to sit her down and confess everything. Whatever happens after that, I deserve it. I just hope someday my kids can forgive me. 247 comments. People cheering me on, telling me it was the right choice, that honesty was the only path forward. Sarah had written, "I'm so proud of you, Daniel. This takes real courage. Your family will be hurt, but in the long run, this is the right thing. You're doing this because you love them." And Marcus had responded, "Thank you. I don't feel brave. I feel terrified. But you're right. I can't keep living like this." I read it 3 times. Then I understood. This wasn't just a creative writing exercise. This wasn't just teenage rebellion. Marcus was building to something. A climax. An ending to his story. He was going to make me confess. But confess to what? An affair that didn't exist? To Emily? In front of her? Or was this just more fiction for his audience? I sat in the dark garage until 3 a.m. trying to figure out his endgame. And that's when my phone buzzed. An email. From an address I didn't recognize. Subject line, "Are you Daniel Kerrigan?" My blood went cold. I opened it with shaking hands. "Hi Daniel. My name is Patricia Morrison. I'm a freelance journalist working on a piece about online infidelity communities and the people who use them to process guilt and seek support. I came across your blog, Confessions of a Married Man, and was moved by your honesty. I'd love to interview you for my article. Your story is exactly the kind of authentic voice I'm looking for. Would you be willing to chat? All details can be kept anonymous if you prefer. Best. Patricia." She'd included her website, her credentials, links to articles she'd published in major magazines. She was real. She thought I was real. She wanted to interview me about the affair I wasn't having for an article that real people would read. I sat there holding my phone and felt the walls closing in. Marcus had let his fiction escape into reality. And now reality was coming for me. I couldn't tell Patricia it was all fake without exposing Marcus. Couldn't ignore her without looking suspicious. Couldn't respond without committing to the light. There was no good choice. No safe move. My 15-year-old son had checkmated me without even knowing we were playing. I deleted the email, then recovered it from trash, then deleted it again. Sat there in my car in my own garage at 3 a.m. and felt utterly, completely trapped. When I finally went inside, I walked past Marcus's closed bedroom door. Light was visible underneath. He was still awake, doing homework, probably, or maybe posting updates about his fictional father's fictional crisis. I stood there for 5 minutes just staring at that strip of light. Then I went to bed. Emily was sleeping peacefully. I lay next to her and listened to her breathe and wondered how long I had before Marcus's fiction and my reality collided so hard neither of us would survive the impact. I spent 17 years building a life. My son destroyed it in 7 months using nothing but words and Wi-Fi. And the worst part? I still can't figure out why. I caught my son pretending to be me in online support groups. The journalist emailed again on Thursday. Then Friday. Then she found me on LinkedIn. "Hi Daniel. I hope you don't mind me reaching out here. I really think your story could help a lot of people who are struggling with similar situations. Even if you want to remain completely anonymous, I'd love to chat. Just 30 minutes of your time. Professional photo. Real credentials. 15 years of published work." She wasn't going away. I sat in my office staring with the message and trying to figure out how this had become my life. How I'd gone from regular dad to the subject of a journalist's investigation based on crimes I never committed. My phone rang. "Emily, hey, can you leave work early today? Marcus's orthodontist appointment is at 3:30 and I just got called into an emergency meeting." "Sure. Yeah. No problem. You're a lifesaver. Love you." She hung up before I could respond. I left at 2:45. Picked Marcus up from school. He got in the car without looking at me. "Earbuds in. Hood up?" We drove in silence for 10 minutes. Then I couldn't take it anymore. "How's school?" He shrugged. "Fine. Any tests coming up?" "Some." "Need help studying?" "No." Another 5 minutes of nothing. Just the sound of the engine and whatever music he was listening to bleeding through his earbuds. I pulled into the orthodontist parking lot. Turned off the car. "Marcus." He looked at me. First time in days we'd made real eye contact. "Yeah?" I opened my mouth. 1,000 questions fighting to get out. "Why are you doing this? What did I do wrong? Do you hate me? Are you trying to destroy our family? Do you understand what you've done?" "Nothing. Never mind." He stared at me for another second. Then got out of the car. We sat in the waiting room. He scrolled on his phone. I pretended to read a magazine about dental health from 2019. Every time he typed something, my stomach clenched. Was he posting? Responding to comments? Building more lies? A notification buzzed on my phone. I'd set up alerts for new posts from his accounts. He'd updated a blog 20 minutes ago. From school. I couldn't read it there. Not sitting next to him. Not where he might see my screen. His name got called. He disappeared into the back with the orthodontist. I pulled up the blog post with shaking hands. Title, I told her. I did it. Last night after the kids went to bed, I sat Emily down and told her everything. About Jessica. About the lies. About the double life I've been living for 6 months. She didn't cry. That was the worst part. She just sat there looking at me like she was seeing a stranger. Then she asked me to sleep in the guest room. We haven't spoken since. I don't know what happens now. I don't know if my marriage can survive this. But at least the lying is over. 309 comments. Posted while I was driving to pick him up. People congratulating me on my bravery. Offering support. Sharing their own stories of confession and aftermath. Sarah had written a novel-length response about how proud she was. How this was the first step toward healing. I read it 3 times trying to make sense of it. He was saying I'd confessed. Last night. To Emily. But I hadn't. Obviously. Emily and I had watched a movie and gone to bed. Nothing happened. So what was this? More fiction? Fantasy? Wishful thinking? Or was he building towards something worse? Marcus came back out 40 minutes later. New rubber bands. Instructions for Emily about his retainer. We drove home in silence. Emily got back at 5:30. I'd ordered pizza because I couldn't focus enough to cook. Dinner was quiet. Normal quiet, not tense quiet. Lily talked about her friend's birthday party. Emily mentioned her sister's visit was confirmed for next weekend. Marcus ate 2 slices and excused himself. Nothing was different. Nothing had changed. Emily didn't look at me like I was a stranger. She smiled. She laughed at one of Lily's jokes. She touched my hand when she reached for the salad. Everything was fine. Except online, hundreds of people believed our marriage was imploding. After the kids went to bed, Emily and I sat on the couch. She leaned against me. We watched some crime show neither of us cared about. Your sister's really coming for a whole week? I asked. Is that okay? I know she can be a lot. It's fine. The kids love her. She kissed my shoulder. You're a good man, Daniel Kerrigan. Those words hit me like a truck. I'm a good man. But somewhere online, I'm a cheater. A liar. A narcissist. A terrible father and worse husband. And my son created both versions. You okay? Emily asked. You tensed up. Just tired. She studied my face. Really looked at me. And for a second I saw what Marcus had written. That expression. Like she was trying to solve a puzzle. Except she wasn't suspicious. She was worried. About me. Because I'd been acting strange for a week. Maybe you should take a day off, she said. You've been stressed lately. Maybe. We finished the show. Went to bed. She fell asleep in minutes. I lay there until midnight. Then I got up and went to my office. I had to know what Marcus's endgame was. Why he'd posted about confessing when nothing had happened. I went through everything again. Every post. Every comment. Every detail. And I found the pattern. The posts on the narcissist subreddit had ramped up. More frequent. More detailed. Building a case. My dad controls everything I do. He tracks my location obsessively. He goes through my stuff when I'm not home. He punishes me for the smallest mistakes. I think he's getting worse. More paranoid. More controlling. I'm starting to get scared. That last one was posted yesterday. 400 upvotes. Dozens of comments telling him to talk to a school counselor. To document everything. To make an escape plan. One comment said, "This is abuse. You need to tell someone before it escalates." Marcus had responded, "I'm going to talk to my school counselor on Monday. I just need to be brave enough." Monday. That was in 3 days. My hands went numb. He was going to talk to a school counselor. Tell them his father was abusive. Show them the posts. The evidence he'd built over 7 months. The cheating blog was a distraction. A subplot. The real story was the abuse narrative. And once he told a mandated reporter, everything would explode. They'd have to investigate. Talk to Emily. Talk to Lily. Talk to me. How do you prove you're not abusive? How do you defend yourself against 7 months of carefully constructed lies when the liar is your own child? I sat there until 4 a.m. trying to figure out what to do. I could confront him before Monday, but he'd deny everything. Delete the posts. Claim I was being paranoid and controlling, which would just confirm his narrative. I could tell Emily. But what would I say? Show her? She'd be devastated. Confused. She'd want to know why. And I didn't have an answer. I could do nothing. Let Monday come. Let Marcus tell his counselor. Hope the truth came out during the investigation. But what if it didn't? What if they believed him? What if Emily started believing him? All it takes is doubt. One seed of suspicion. One question that can't be answered. And our family would be over. I finally went back to bed at 5 a.m. Emily's alarm went off at 6:30. Saturday was Lily's friend's birthday party. We all went. Watched 6-year-olds run around a park for 3 hours. Marcus sat on a bench the whole time scrolling on his phone. I watched him. Really watched him. Trying to see something I'd missed. Some sign. Some tell. He looked like a normal teenager. Bored. Tired. Slightly annoyed to be at a kid's party. Not like someone systematically destroying his father's reputation online. That night I checked the blog again. New post. Day 2 after confession. Emily still isn't talking to me. She's been cold but polite. We're functioning as roommates for the kid's sake. Marcus knows something's wrong. I can see it in his eyes. He's scared. I did this. I destroyed my family because I was selfish and weak. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if it can be fixed. 500 comments. His biggest post yet. People were hooked. Invested. Waiting for updates like it was a TV show. And Marcus was giving them what they wanted. Drama. Tension. Stakes. Using my name. My family. My life. Sunday morning Emily made pancakes. We ate as a family. Everything was normal. Fine. Completely fine. Except I kept looking at Marcus and seeing Monday coming like a freight train. After breakfast he went to his room. I waited 10 minutes. Then followed him. Knocked on his door. Yeah? I opened it. He was at his desk. Laptop open. Immediately minimized whatever he was looking at. Can we talk? He shrugged. Sure. I sat on his bed. No idea what I was going to say. The words just came out. Are you okay? You've been quiet lately. I'm fine. School okay? Friends okay? Yeah, Dad. Everything's fine. You tell me if something was wrong, right? He looked at me. Really looked at me. And for just a second I saw something flicker across his face. Guilt? Fear? Anger? Then it was gone. Sure. Can I get back to my homework? I left. Closed his door. Stood in the hallway feeling like I just failed some test I didn't know I was taking. That night I lay in bed next to Emily and made a decision. Monday morning I was going to Marcus's school. Before he could talk to any counselor, I was going to tell them everything. Show them the posts. Explain what was happening. It would be humiliating. Exposing. I'd have to show strangers all those lies about me. About Emily. About our marriage. But it was the only way. The only move that might work. I barely slept. When my alarm went off Monday morning, I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. Emily kissed me goodbye. Told me to have a good day. Marcus left for school at 7:45. I left 5 minutes later. I was going to beat him there. Talked to the principal. Showed them everything before Marcus could poison the well. I parked in the school lot at 8:10. Walked toward the main office with my phone full of screenshots. And that's when I saw the police car. 2 of them. Parked by the front entrance. My stomach dropped. I walked faster. Through the front doors. The hallway was empty. Classes had started. The main office door was open. I could hear voices. Official voices. Serious voices. I stepped inside. Principal Hendricks was there. A police officer. A woman in a blazer I didn't recognize. Probably CPS. And Marcus. Sitting in a chair. Looking small. Looking scared. They all turned when I walked in. Mr. Kerrigan, Principal Hendricks said. Thank you for coming so quickly. I hadn't been called. I was just there. What's going on? The police officer stepped forward. Sir, we need to ask you some questions about allegations that have been brought to our attention. The room tilted. Marcus was staring at me. Not guilty. Not sorry. Just watching. Like he was waiting to see what I'd do. And I realized. Too late. Way too late. He'd already told them. Already shown them. Already lit the fuse. And I'd walked right into the explosion.